Hey, 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 hey. Goodness to you. This is Sporty King coming in live. Hey, and I say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? We've got less than 4 minutes to go for today's message. So as you come on, just settle in. If you're watching the video, it won't start for another 4 minutes because I always try to come on at least 5 minutes earlier to give people a chance to get logged in. Because sometimes, we have the best intentions. We say, oh, yeah, at 1 o'clock, I want to watch Sporty's broadcast or whatever. And then when 1 o'clock is, oh, my God, I need to close this out. So I send out because, then Facebook and LinkedIn, et cetera, they let you know that the video has started. And so I send this out early so that they get to that message and you can close out whatever it is you're doing. So that's it. So if you're on early, please put in the chat where you're viewing from so I can say hello. And oh man, my videographer extraordinaire, Warren Sally. What's happening, man? Oh my God, what a flashback he just gave me. Okay, end of broadcast. Because oh man, we used to just he's the one that helped me start doing my podcast when it was my piece of the puzzle. And we used to just him and his wife Sally. He sounds last name. Down in there in their studio, we would put it together, and I mean, we used to rock. So yeah, good. Thank you, Warren, coming in from Facebook, and yeah, all the cheers and helps. And hey, and what's up, Cecilia, coming in on LinkedIn, and from Chicago, Jerome, Chicago, feeling from LinkedIn. Jerome, Chicago, feeling from LinkedIn. I think I just followed the link. Okay, so I guess she's talking to somebody. Annie, by the way, Annie Sally is who I almost, I Sally Warren twice, but it's Warren Sally and Annie Sally, who were just wonderful blessings to me. So I know, Cecilia, you're in there, and we'll figure out what you're talking about later. You too, kind sir. We love you so much. Thank you. Oh, plenty hard shot to you. Less than 2 minutes to go for today's message. So keep settling in. Go get one more glass of water, whatever you need. But yeah, we got less than 2 minutes to go for today's message. And there we go. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, and see how it goes. How God, as I talk about going to get the water, Annie and I used to always share the coffee. She said, "Let me get you some coffee." All right, but man, see, everything connects to everything. We just have to realize that. What's going on, my brother, homeboy Vic? Good day to my family. Hey, good day to you too, my brother. We got less than a minute and a half for today's message. I'm talking like I'm on the FedEx commercial. Yeah, if we old schoolers know that means talking fast, right? But oh man, you know what? That's how beautiful, God's gifts comes to us faster than we tend to think that it does, and we've got to be conscious of the pace with which we share it. Now, you know what? Even though I'm just saying, watch how that ends up being a part of the message. Yeah, laugh out loud, Warren. I'm with you. Remember, there is always a delay, so I don't always know why people are putting in certain comments. We got less than a minute today, but here comes Cecilia explanation. Unfortunately, using voice recording doesn't always work. I followed the link from the notation, so I believe I am in LinkedIn. You are in LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah, yes, Cecilia, you are in LinkedIn. Now, I'm not. I don't know if you're talking about. Let's talk about what you mean about the link for notification. Check this out. If you get the link, the link actually goes to. I'm glad you asked. The link actually goes to StreamYard. So it's not unfortunate. You're in the right place. The link goes to StreamYard, not to Facebook or LinkedIn. And that's where it'll come up on the screen. Now, if you happen to be on Facebook, Cecilia, and saying that the link it's showing you coming in from LinkedIn, that we need to check out. But that's the key. So whether you are on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on YouTube, if you click on the link about the broadcast, you actually come in on StreamYard, which is where the feed goes in, and then it'll show which one of those mediums you're clicking in from. Celia, does that cover it? Are you actually clicking in from LinkedIn? or you on Facebook and clicked in and it's telling us that you're on LinkedIn. Okay. And then finally, Roger Carroll says, hey, and that means we're going to get started. All right. Because it's 1 o'clock and let's get ready to roll. Hey, what's going coming in from Charlotte? What's going on, Bruce? Welcome back. Happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, that's a good thing to sing in Black History Month, right? Oh, what a happy day. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Y'all get ready to get your lips going to drop on today's broadcast. But I'm gonna let Vic get the highs in there. Now that can go in there, but I like to get everything y'all throw up there on the screen. And that's also why I keep notes, because I'm gonna look at your comments and jump on over there. Sing, brother. Not one of my gifts. I can sing like 3 lines. Oh, happy day, right? Boom, that's it. Singing ain't my gift. Hey, let's get rolling with today's message. So I always start out saying, good nest, because I don't know when you're watching, but isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to Gain. And I call it's my new series. It's called the Gain series, GAIN, the glue analogies in numbers. And not the book of numbers, but in the numbers, similar to how, remember when we had the GAS series, GAS, the glue alphabet series, where every week I featured a different letter. And so I would, and we went down the alphabet. And so I put the following week, the upcoming week's letter. People would put words that began with that letter. So let's say we start out, this week's message had A, next week's letters feature is going to be B. So people would put words in the feed that began with B, and then I get them into the message the following week. So now that's what I'm doing with the numbers. So only thing is we're not going chronologically. It's just whatever number somebody wants to put in. So this weekly broadcast will ask you to provide a number that you like, no matter what your reason is. And you don't even have to tell me why you put that number in, but I'll find a way to feed it into next week's message. Now, this week's message numbers were volunteered by Daphne, who gave us number 33, Victor gave us number 26, and Tina gave us number 3. Okay, I'm gonna do some quick shout out stuff here. Okay, Cecilia, you're on LinkedIn because it was a LinkedIn notification. Okay, good. Yeah, we can still talk about it. If you would rather come in from Facebook, I can tell you how to do that. But yeah, you should have gotten a notification from both if you're on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So that what that means is, and see, I thought of this one right away. If you're on LinkedIn or if you're on Facebook, what you have to do is set your settings to say that you want to get the announcement when it comes through. And if you know how to do that, good. If you don't, because I'm better at showing you than telling you, but I know that's how it goes. So get that shout out from Roger Carroll to Vic, and let's keep on rolling. All right, cool in the gang. So where were we? Our numbers today: Daphne 33, Victor 26, and Tina gave me the number 3. Every week I have what I call my guiding scripture. And so my guiding scripture today will blend from 2 places. One from Proverbs 4 and 7, which says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. And then my second scripture that goes with that was where I flipped the script, because I went from Proverbs 4:7 to Proverbs 7:4. And it says, say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. See, wisdom is the sister and understanding is the kinswoman. And that's why, today's message is flip the script. Flip the script. And I'm also giving it a subtitle of choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. Something that all of you have heard me say before. And man, is it going to come home today. That's where your lips going to get ready to drop. Spoiler alert. All right. But let me tell you, I chose Proverbs 4 and 7 because on my mind this week was the importance of what I've said on occasions before, and that is how you are your pastor's best resource when you use him or her not to learn, but to often confirm the word. See, in other words, your prior learning will attach to your interpretation so that you can confirm what the pastor is saying. If you only, because if you only listen to the pastor and you say, yeah, that's right, and you don't know if the pastor, it might not be the good messenger at that time. So that becomes the key. All right. So that's why it's so important to choose your messengers carefully and recognize you're carefully being chosen as a messenger. So use your pastor not always to learn, but to confirm the word. Your prior learning will attach to your interpretation so that you can confirm. You see, the Bible has not always been used for the good of those who love the Lord. Nat Turner. Nat Turner is heralded in Black history because his revolt, historically known as the Southampton Insurrection, was a rebellion of enslaved Virginians that took place in Southampton County, Virginia in August 1831. Led by Turner, the rebels killed between 55 and 65, the number difference varies according to where you get your information from, white people, making it the deadliest slave revolt in U.S. history. The rebellion was over in 48 hours. It only lasted from August 21st to August 23rd. Turner escaped and eluded Virginia authorities for 2 months, but he was finally captured, tried, and put to death. However, I attached the scripture because since he was able to read, his slave master learned to monetize his ability and rent him out to other plantations to read the Bible, to flip the script and turn supplication and teach supplication to the slaves. And what he did, he used 1 Peter 2 and 18. You who are slaves must submit to your masters with all respect. Do what they tell you, not only if they are kind and reasonable, but even if they are cruel. He flipped the script in the Bible. Stop for a second to say hi to Daphne, one of our number runners, our number volunteers. Welcome aboard. But that's why the script is flip the script was on my mind. And also in all that get understanding. Okay. Yet it was because while he was traveling from plantation to plantation, that he fueled his vision of commitment to freeing his people of this injustice and misuse of God's word. Fast forward, this is also a sample of the slave masters stabbing themselves in the foot based on Proverbs 7 and 4, which says, make sure that you make wisdom your sister and how you get it the proper way. Because see, the revolt destroyed the white Southern myth that slaves are actually happy with their lives or too docile to undertake a violent rebellion. See, so that's why I had that flip in the script, because even though they had Nat Turner using the Bible and using an excerpt that didn't have the context. See, that's why I say you will be an asset to your pastor when you understand the Bible, because he or she is going to give you an excerpt, not always the full context, even though that's part of their message, is to bring it into context. But there's sometimes where they're pulling from other scriptures that they don't have a chance to give all the full context of. And so so as they had him flip the script and use the Bible against the slaves, they were flipping it on themselves, because he was saying it, and then he started to see what was going on. And he heard what he's saying. That's where I say, choose your messengers carefully. See, as a speaker, one of the things I always say to people, it's not as important for me to speak as it is to listen. I have to hear what I'm saying. And therefore, I would not give advice that I would not be willing to take. That's one of the things you have to ask yourself as a messenger. Are you giving advice that you would not be willing to take? Hear what you're saying to people. As Nat Turner started to hear what he was saying and see what was happening to these slaves and people, and it's a lot, there's a lot more than that, because he continued to be treated as a slave, even though he was doing what was supposedly in the slave master's best interest. He started to see his vision more of, I can't let this keep going on. And see, that's what the Southern myth was, that he would be preaching it and not be bold enough to lead a revolution and to see that this slavery was wrong, but to totally understand it. All right. So to totally understand it. So that's why the script got flipped by the slave masters. They flipped their own script on themselves. You see, Nat Turner's revolt ended up hardening. Okay, and then meanwhile, Nat Turner's revolt ended up hardening pro-slavery attitudes among Southern whites and led to new oppressive legislation prohibiting the education, movement, and assembly of slaves. See, again, they used his ability to read to let the slaves say, oh, this is one of ours, not a slave master telling us what to do. That was their flipping of the script. In their flip, it helped him, it fueled his commitment to break them away from slavery. Then the script got flipped on him again, on slaves again, because after the revolution, slavery got even tighter in the South. There was more of a commitment on the slave masters' resolve to keep the slaves down. So now they made sure the goal was to make sure nobody else can read. So in Virginia, for instance, the rebellion marked the end of an abolitionist movement. Months after the insurrection, the Virginia legislation narrowly rejected a measure for gradual emancipation that would have followed the lead of the North. Instead, pointing to Turner's intelligence and education as a major cause of the revolt, measures were passed in Virginia and other states in the South that made it unlawful to teach enslaved people and free African Americans how to read or write. Historians argue that the movie about the rebellion, The Birth of a Nation, misses and misrepresents several facts. And after reading accounts from Britannica, Wikipedia, and PBS and others, I can see why. Yet they do slightly agree that the artistic reimaginings of historical events can prompt us to learn whatever lessons they may contain. So even though the historians say, well, there were things that were left out and reasons for what happened were left out in The Birth of the Nation, the overall picture of the Nat Turner's revolution is something that the lesson still comes from there. Because see, that's what you should do. And again, taking it back to what I'm saying about being a value to your pastor, you go and research the word. See, so now that I watched the movie, The Birth of a Nation, that makes, let me go see what this whole Nat Turner thing was about. And then I can see where the movie, they got that right. Oh, well, this is a little fabrication. And that's what the historians, want to talk about and argue on the internet. So always, there we go again. That's the messenger aspect of it. Beware. Be conscious of the messenger flipping the script, which is also reframing, which is what we do. We do things to serve ourselves. I once did a post that said we all support our own bias, and that's coming up today as well. So that's the Nat Turner story. So, but what I want to do is start my modern day lessons from the numbers provided and ask you to keep the subtitle in mind. That subtitle being, choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. You see, using first the number 3. On this day in Black history, February 3rd, 1903, Jack Johnson won the Negro heavyweight title. And on February 3rd, 1920, the Negro Baseball League is founded. But I want to give a shout out and thanks here to Toya Howard. You see, she sent me a message on LinkedIn regarding my media post, from yesterday, which said, beware, don't become so anti-racist that you become one. They are our brothers and sisters we disagree with. And it had my commentary on it that said, not an easy undertaking or lesson to follow. For when we do, we often allow anger to take the lead and lead us down the path of blind rage. What I like to do is not be the one who fits into the box laced. Did I write that? I didn't. Oh, and my message went on to say, what I like to do is not be the one who fits in the box laced with justifiable stereotypes that fuel the opposition. If I can get one racist in brackets to think, well, they're not all alike, I keep myself from putting them in a box as well. Please go back and read that post from yesterday. But here's why I want to highlight it, because here's what Toya wrote me when she saw that post. Hey, Sporty. Oops. Hey, Sporty. I had an interesting experience today. I actually sought out a Trump supporter who is on the cruise. I observed him on the 2020 cruise. He also, he always wore his Trump MAGA hat, and it bugged me. On the current cruise, I noticed him at a shuttle stop and jerked his chain about his new hat, Trump 2024. He also had on a Chicago Fire Department shirt. Afterward, I felt uncomfortable. Anyway, I felt led to break the ice and find him to get to know him a little. So I did. We had a cordial discussion. And though we will probably never see eye to eye politically, we are two Chicago Catholic high school people who have UK ancestry. You see, she did the undertaking that she didn't become so anti-racist that she put him in the box of being this type, which would then allow him to put her in the box of being that type who's against him. So I say again, thank you, Toya. But here's how I responded to Toya. Toya, I tossed and turned about it last night. What happened is, in looking up a Black History Month fact, I was directed to Jack Johnson. Smiling through reading about him, I got stumped when I got to how 5 presidential administrations, including Obama's, chose to overlook pardoning Jack Johnson for a bogus taint on his name. And it was Trump that actually did pardon Jack Jackson. As I immediately mused over refusing to say anything good about him, I mused over how history gets tainted and communication bashed because we choose to share and keep step with the old beliefs. I was about to share only that Jack Johnson won the heavyweight title on February 3rd, and that the Negro Baseball League was formed, and move on. Thanks to Toya and the usual assist from God, I remembered that as I am chosen as a messenger, I have a responsibility to deliver the message. So I say that to say, you really have to remember that I don't want to become so anti-racist that I become one. I was getting ready to not share something because it didn't go along with what I believed. Since I don't like, and I put that on myself, and I want to change those words. Since I don't like Donald Trump, since I disagree with him and his policies, I was not willing to say anything good about him that that actually shows some good that I appreciate, because in when I did that Google search, it took his family appreciated it. There were other boxers who were there. There were other entertainers, all black people who were extremely happy. So it, being the messenger is, it's a big burden, and it's a burden that we all carry. You are being chosen as someone's messenger, and you have to listen to what your message is. And I thank you, Toya, because it was a struggle for me, because I was very conscious of what I was about to do. I was about to close the door, and hey, well, I'm not sharing that. This is what we believe. Let's keep the anger. Let's keep the disagreement fueled. That's what I was doing. So thank you, Warren, for saying that's good. Thank you. And because it is incumbent upon each of us not to want to get the that's good so much from Warren, that I don't give him the whole truth. And that's what we want to be very conscious of. So that's the number 3. All right. Oop, did I get a? Oh, okay. Cecilia, avoid the box, which is easy to use and slippery as a fox. Y'all know, by the way, Goat Cecilia she don't just pop these up on Glue Wednesday. Cecilia is used. I went to her feed, and she has the quips and the comments and the word use. I just love it, and I love Cecilia from so long ago. So thank you, Cecilia, for bringing your gift over here and heightening it. Okay, find the story to get to the glory. And let me pause for a second in case anybody else is putting some in there based on that sharing. So, just think about it. Who are you a messenger for, and how honest are you? So thank you. Avoid the box. It's easy to use it. It's really easy to fall into, just say, hey, you know what? I hate him. I hate her. And they hate me. So we're even. But it's because we haven't taken the time to share. We look for the differences so that we can attack them, instead of finding the differences so that we can value them. And again, not even Black History Month, everybody loves to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, but that's what his message was all about. It's not just Black History Month. And that's what his message was all about. Let's find the differences and recognize them, and then let's choose to compare and value the commonalities and keep ourselves out of the box. Easy to post, easy to say, and very hard to do. So also don't slap yourself when you fall down and don't do it. Grab yourself and say, okay, let me try not to repeat it. Very hard to. So thank you, Cecilia, for that. And again, I want to just go one more thank you to Toya for what she helped me do. Then there's the number 26. Number 26. Bars Fight was written by poet and activist Lucy Terry in 1746. So see that, and that's right in line with Nat Turner being taught to read and write. Lucy was reading and writing. I'm gonna put this up there because y'all don't see that what Cecilia wrote. I learned from the best. Yeah. So as I compliment her wizardry, she compliments mine, and I appreciate that, and I laugh because it's just part of the joy that we have to share. It's just part of the joy and the memories as well. So thank you, Celia. You learn from the best, and I got it from the best. So yeah, you learn from the best because I got it from God, transferred it, and then you took it and ran with it a little further. Roger Carroll. 2 conflicting things can be true at the same time. Yeah, that's part of human complexity. 2 conflicting things can be same at the same time. Let me see if I actually have it here. But some time ago, I had and what I still use. Nope, I don't have it loaded on here. But one of the things that I still use is a slide when I'm talking about communication that talks about right It depends whether you're on the nine side of the six or the six side of the nine, because it's just think about it. If you draw a six in front of yourself, it's a six to you, but someone sitting across from you, that's a nine. So right or wrong depends on whether you're on the nine side of six or the six side of nine. Two conflicting things can be true at the same time. That's a part of human complexity. And sometimes as adults, we get so caught up in being right that we don't listen to what the other person's viewpoint is, where we can often find out, you know what, I don't change how I feel, but wow, I can see why they won't change why how they feel. We like that cliche, let's agree to disagree, but man, that's not an easy thing to do. And so we'll say it, but we tend to avoid it. We're not willing to agree to disagree. We say to each his own, but that's only a part of the sentence, because it's to each his own. But if I don't like what you do, then I got a problem with you. So it ain't that much to each his own after all, is it? Okay. So just I'm glad that y'all are throwing those comments in there. And if you're watching the video, food for thought is always a powerful thing. So even if you're watching a video, throw your comments in there and give us a little something else to talk about, another way to look at things, another perspective. So thank you, Roger Carroll, for that. So let me get back to what I was saying about Lucy. Okay, Lucy Terry it was in 1746, was the first known poem written by a Black American. Bars Fight. That was the poem. Terry was enslaved in Rhode Island as a toddler, but became free at age 26. So that's why the 26, after marrying a free Black man. And it was in 1764, flip that script, right? It was 1746 that she wrote the poem, but it was in 1764 that Lucy and her Abijah, Abijah, a free Black couple, settled in Guilford, Vermont, as one of Guilford's first land-owning settlers. See, sometimes a lot of people, only way Black people came over was slavery. But this is 1764. Guilford, Lucy and Abijah, even though she had been enslaved, but they were free, and they settled in Guilford, Virginia, as one of the first land-owning settlers. There, they raised 6 children, created a gathering space for local slaves and freed people, and defended their rights as landowners against the vicious efforts of certain racist neighbors. The Prince family, I'm sorry, that was their last name, Abijah Prince. Terry was her maiden name. The Prince family, and Lucy Terry in particular, left an indelible mark on the history and identity of Vermont. By the end of the 18th century, Guilford, Vermont was the most popular town in Vermont, and the Princes were one of its most prominent families. Their home was an embattled and unshakable center of Black community, secured largely by the anonymous power, I'm sorry, enormous power of Lucy herself. Lucy Terry Prince's only known surviving poem, Black Fights, was when she wrote it, she was about 20 years old and enslaved in Deerfield when a violent massacre between settlers and the indigenous people of the area occurred. The incident became known as the Bars Fight because it happened on the bars, a colonial term for the meadow. She documented this historical incident in her poem, the oldest known work of literature by an African American. Bars Fight survived in oral tradition about 100 years after her death, and appeared in print for the first time in 1854 on the front page of the Springfield Daily Republican. So Lucy was the second African American. She was the first known to have her a poem written, but she was actually the second to be published. Phyllis Wheatley was the first. And finally, the number 33. Last night, LeBron James surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time leading scorer. Kareem always wore number 33 in his life, but it was of no particular magical formula. As he states, in seventh grade, we got new basketball uniforms at my grade school, and they had a number 33. I picked it, and from that point until the end of my career, I was still wearing number 33. I was excited about this because also when I went away to high school in 1969, and I when I first made the varsity in 1970 in my junior year, I wore no in 70. Yes. In 69, I got a chance to play on the varsity. I wasn't on the varsity, I was on the bench, but my first number that I picked was number 33 as well. I hadn't picked it because of Jabbar, by the way. I had picked it because of Charlie Scott. So it's just another, old time schools know that, and they would know that who he was. Okay. But again, 33, this was Jabbar's, or at that time, Lou Alcindor. Was his reason for picking number 33. And as an old schooler, I began following Kareem as Lou Alcindor when he played at UCLA. When he came into the NBA, he was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. And I became a Bucks fan. When he got traded to the Lakers, I couldn't go with him because growing up on my block, Vic, chime in on this one, you know it. Growing up on my block, we talked a lot of trash about teams while being loyal to our own team. I talked a lot of trash against the Los Angeles Lakers to where there was no way I could shape my mouth to say something positive to defend him. So going similar to what we were saying a little while ago, right? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, what'd you say, Vic? Yes, indeed, for life. Yeah, we talked a lot of trash against somebody else's team to defend our own team. Yet, as an old schooler, I still keep an asterisk next to this NBA scoring title. I'm not hating on LeBron. Congratulations and joy. But it's not totally apples to apples because Kareem did not come up in the three-point shot era. He will always be, to me, the number one scorer after only having shot 18 and hit one three-point shot in his career. LeBron has over 220,000 and counting. That's 6,000 plus points. And that's also how we argued and defended our teams back then. I think it's a wonderful tradition of trash talking that still goes on. I remind us that we categorize it for what it is. It's just trash talk. And remember to make sure that the truth comes out as well. You see, when you flip the script, make sure you're getting and wedding wisdom along with truth. So what we got there, Vic? Oh yeah, the battles we had. We talked some crap about our teams. Yep. And me and Vic and I, we were San Francisco Giants and Dallas Cowboy fans, and we talked some crap. And then I was just about to mention the 3-point. Thank you, Roger Carroll. See, there's a delay. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's not apples to apples. Not diminishing what LeBron has accomplished, because Kareem didn't come. You know who I would defend more than Kareem? I would defend Jerry West. Because they didn't have the three. I don't think they had the 3-pointer at all. Oh, I have to look that up. I don't think they had the 3-pointer at all when Jerry West came up, and Jerry West was a prolific scorer. But LeBron's not known as a 3-point shooter. That 2000 3-point shots, that's not in the top made in history, but it is an advantage. And that's 6,000 points. He passed Kareem, 38,000 plus points. Well, guess what? It's 38,002 something, I believe, right? So he wouldn't have 38,000 had it not been for the 3-pointers. So, and again, not arguing, because let me celebrate. Wait, let's go back. Let's celebrate LeBron's accomplishment. What he did, and Kareem was there to congratulate him and celebrate him, and that's what history is about. Let's congratulate him, but Kareem will always be the greatest leading scorer without the 3-point shot added, and that's right. Kareem is always number one. That's right. Okay, and you're right. Oscar Robertson, my number one pick. Then Doc, yeah. So it's just everybody's going to argue for their team. Takes it right back to the point I made. That's why I said it was going to make your jaw drop. Where where I had to say I was in the process. I could have been an errant messenger, and so we got to be careful. All are great, but my favorite is Dr. J. Period. Yeah, that's trash talk right here, y'all. But let me add one more thing before we get ready to get out of here. And just again, thank you, Toya. But another reason I was so conscious of this message, I spoke in Atlanta this past weekend with the Army, and on one of my slides, I was talking about some research, and I challenged them with the question of who were the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners in college football. And I had dusted off an old presentation to give this to them. And I actually had not updated the last 5. I had put the most recent, but I had not taken away the 2 before him and taken the 2 off the beginning. So when I said, somebody said, well, this is them. And I said, no, this is the correct answer. They said, no. And, they said, well, no, and they disagreed with me. And we made fun of it. I made a good joke of it, because I was presenting before a group of about 200. And I said, well, hey, I Google searched and this is what happened. And we had a good laugh. During the break, I went and re-Google searched, because what they told me about who they felt I was missing, I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I agree. I did not have Joe Burrows, who's the quarterback for Cincinnati. He won last year, and I didn't have the guy who was before him, whose name I don't remember, but I knew his name. And I said, oh my God, yeah, I didn't have them. So again, as a messenger, I didn't have the right information. But you know what I did later? That was in the opening presentation. I was the opening keynote. Later in my session, I stood before the whole group and I said, look, I want to let you know they were right. I did not have the most recent information. And I am not against saying to you that I had the wrong information. As your messenger, I was not delivering the truth. And I said, and I want to thank y'all for fact checking me, because now, number one, of course, I've also now updated my slides, but imagine if I was somewhere where they didn't fact check me and they would just go and say, oh, Sporty doesn't know what he's talking about. We were just, and I was just talking about some sports statistics. What about in real life? How often have we heard somebody say something and they didn't give us the right message and we just blew them off? etc. That's why I get the right information. So that's one reason that was on my mind. And Toya helped me push it over the ledge. And I want to say I'm going to stay over the ledge. And I don't doubt that I would have. I just had to admit that I was tossing and turning with it. And that's why. So when I woke up and I read Toya's message, God said, okay, Sporty, relax. This is what you're going to do. And I'm so glad. So thanks again for joining me on Glue Wednesday. Put a number in the feed, even if you're watching the video and wherever you're watching from. And I will try to find a way to make it germane to next week's message, which I don't know what it's going to be. Sometimes I let the numbers move me toward the message, and sometimes I just move the numbers into the message that I've already decided. So Bruce is going to come up with 13, and 13. That was Wilt Chamberlain's number. Was who when Kareem first came in. And by the way, if you didn't catch that, see, in college, Lou Alcindor was his birth name then. And even when he came to the Bucks, he wasn't, I don't think he was Jabbar yet. I think he was still Lou Alcindor. I don't know what year he changed, or was his first or second or third year in the NBA, but he came in still as Lou Alcindor. Then he changed to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay. All right. So Vic, take care, fam. Vic's going to go with 62, which is Travis Kelce's brother, who's on the Philadelphia Eagles. That's his number. Super Bowl coming up next Sunday. All right. Roger Carroll's going to go with 65. Retirement age. I love it. That was my boy. And then Bruce, he's going with, he's telling us why he picked 13, because it was his birthday. Remember, it was Friday the 13th last month, January 13th. Yeah, and you don't have to tell me your reason, but that's fine, because that might influence what I write about it. But yeah, again, and the reason I mentioned the 13 is Wilt Chamberlain. Before Kareem came in, I was a Philly 76ers fan. And that was why I was a Wilt Chamberlain fan, and that was number 13. See how it all comes together? That Cecilia's coming in from LinkedIn with the number 9. Remember? Think about it. Right or wrong depends on the 9 side of 6 or the 6 side of the 9. Make it all work. 16, 8 teenagers. Be sweet to yourself and someone else on 2/14 because you can. Not because it's Valentine's Day, but because you can. And Valentine's Day can be every single day, because we must love one another. When they made the song about Dr. King, they said, take a day to love somebody. They were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Day. But isn't that something that we should be doing? Because we can every single day of the year. Take a day to love somebody. And please make sure that you're part of that list of somebodies that should be loved. I'm Sporty King. Thanks again for joining me on Glue Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you next week. Over and out. Ciao. I'm going to stay, because I learned that a lot of times when I log right off, somebody puts a message up and I say, I like to let that get up there. I wonder if it's because I got my glasses off that this is looking blurry to me. And I might have to clean the lens, y'all. All right. So that's it. So we'll let the 16 be the last one. Thank you, Daphne. God bless you. Over and out. Ciao.